Hello, I'm Judith A. Yates, true crime author and criminologist. This is Best True Crime. Every episode, I take you on a journey to explore crime, forensics, and investigations. Hey everybody, I'm Judith A. Yates, true crime author and criminologist, and welcome to my video series, Best True Crime. Today we are going to Nashville, and we are talking to Mr. Clay Stafford of Killer Nashville. Mr. Clay, what are you doing today?
Well, working on a new book as usual.
Ooh, awesome. What's this one about? Or can you tell us?
It's a political thriller.
Oh, just like real life. Just like
I'm afraid so. It was not intended to be, but the timing seemed to work out. Yes.
Yeah. Woo. Okay. Well, I want you to introduce yourself and tell everybody about yourself before we go into discussing Killer Nashville, which we're very excited about.
Okay. Well, my background, I've been in the entertainment business my whole life. Started as a kid actor when I was about 10. And did a lot of touring, some television, some film, and switched over to producing, directing, writing, and started my first production company when I was 16, and have just been involved with the industry my whole life. And I've had a love for education, and that led to teaching at several universities and designing a curriculum at Miami-Dade in Miami, Florida for film technicians, and am now a writer in residence as well. I just can't seem to pull myself away from the education side. And back in 2006, I had an idea of starting a conference for writers who incorporate elements of mystery, thriller, and suspense into their work, including crime authors. And so that was the foundation of Killer Nashville.
Fantastic. Okay, so we're all excited about it. It's coming up. It's around the corner. Tell us about...
It's around the corner and live.
Oh, yeah! Tell us about Killer Nashville.
Killer Nashville, it's really designed for writers. It's designed for people who are on multiple different stages of their career. New writers, just getting started. We have everyone there from people who have an idea for a book and have absolutely no idea where to go from that point forward. And then we have regulars who come in who are even New York Times bestsellers who come for our publicity and marketing sessions, because depending upon what level you happen to be, Killer Nashville's got 5 concurrent tracks running, each for different subjects, one for marketing, one for just general writing, one for genre-specific writing. And then we've also got a forensic track, which ties well into your true crime audience, that runs for the full gamut of the entire thing, that's sponsored by the FBI, the TBI, the CIA, various other people who are there to talk about their particular agencies and how they work in particular things. And one of the tenets of Killer Nashville when we started was because the common complaint was that people who are in a particular industry read a book and go, that would not happen. And the realism is lost immediately in that book in terms of like solving a crime or how something is figured out. And so one of the goals working with these federal and state and local agencies is to portray the people who are involved in that accurately. And so a lot of people who come to Killer Nashville, we call them the CSI junkies. They come there just for the sole purpose of doing forensic tracks the whole time.
Wow. Okay. So one thing I know people their ears are going to perk up because you said the CSI junkies, because they watch, CSI Mulefoot, Tennessee all day long, and then they know how to solve a crime. But tell me about this crime scene that you're going to have set, not a real one, but a fake crime scene you're going to have set up.
Yeah, Dan Royce, who is the former assistant director of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, has been doing the crime scene for us since 2006, and we actually give an award and a discounted admission to Killer Nashville to the winner who solves closest to what it was actually about. And we've had a lot of funny stuff with that. We've learned how to handle our crime scene because when we first started, we threw it out where it was visible, where everybody could see it. But hotel guests come by, and
Oh
it
my
looks so accurate that we've actually had 911 calls. We've had police show up. We've had ambulances show up, and then we have to explain what's going on in the hotel. So we've since moved it. We had it in a boiler room one year. We have it in, like in a hotel room another year. And so we kind of move it around so that it's not out invisible in front of everybody. But really, it's a recreation of true crimes, and everyone has, and you can go to the website, www.killernational.com, and look at the crime scene photos there, and you'll see that they're very realistic. We have the same dead actor show up every year.
All right.
He's a yeah, and poor little guy, he gets abused in different ways every year, and it's a fun thing because the people we put confessions. We have actors who are playing the parts of people who are witnesses or people who were around at a particular time or knew somebody. And so Dan interrogates these particular witnesses, and we put those up on YouTube. And so people can look at all of the witness interrogations as if they were the detective, and then put together the crime and solve it completely.
Oh, wow. Wow. Now,
It's a lot of fun. A lot of people spend a lot of time. I'm more of an education kind of guy. I'm one who would go in and listen to everybody talk. And so we have people who skip the whole thing and just go hang out at the crime scene from Friday and through Saturday, just trying to figure out exactly what took place. And it's a lot of fun. And, it appeals to a certain demographic of the people that we have coming to our session.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be true crime writers. It can be somebody that says, I have a good idea, or I know of a case. Or I had one lady approach me once that said, my sister was murdered. It was never solved. Somebody should write a book. All of those people really could benefit from this. And even people who love true crime books.
Oh, yeah. And it's interesting that you should say something like that. So we have like Todd Matthews is coming to present. Do you know Todd?
I know the name, yes.
Okay, well, he has an organization that helps solve cold cases. So he's doing a session, a forensic session in there. So for people that you're talking about like that, there are actually everybody who comes into Killer Nashville has got I want to help you, I want to develop a relationship type personality. And so when, somebody like Todd is there and you're talking about somebody who has a missing person or an unsolved case or something, his organization is a great way. You come and meet him, exchange business cards, and then you have a relationship with somebody that can help pursue that particular case. Now, disclaimer, we're not in the business of solving crimes,
Right.
but we do connect people with people. And we love the true crime writers. I mean, we had M. William Phelps as one of our guests of honor just a few years ago, and he was completely fantastic. One of my favorite writers. I mean, I love his books, and so we have true crime writers as well, as you referenced, true crime writers as well as fiction writers who are showing up. Everybody's showing up for maybe a different purpose. Somebody for marketing, somebody for learning to write generally, somebody wanting to write specifically in a genre, somebody who wants to just hang out at the crime scene, people who want to come and just network with the agents and editors. So everybody's got a different motivation for coming in. And we end up we're at the Embassy Suites in Cool Springs, Tennessee, and we end up taking up the entire Embassy Suites. So you basically have an entire hotel now. We've grown to the size that we take up the whole hotel.
Oh,
so
great.
we take up the hotel, and so everybody in there is a mystery writer. Yeah, as a matter of fact, obviously there's only so many hotel rooms in the hotel, So we've gotten these last few years, last year excepting because we didn't have Killer Nashville last year, but all the previous years we have overflow hotels because we end up selling out our main hotel. But it's really nice being in that one hotel so that every time you open the door and walk out, you're either talking to a writer or a reader or a CSI junkie or somebody who's there. And you were talking about the crime scene. It's interesting. One year we had a spouse win the crime scene because she read apparently a lot more than her writer husband. And so whoops. And she figured it all out. And they were there for their wedding anniversary. He was a writer, and she bought him a thing at Killer Nashville to celebrate their wedding. And of course, Nashville's a great tourist place. And then we're outside Franklin. And so Franklin's a great tourist place. It's, a lot of history and stuff and
definitely
things to do. And so put all that together, it's a good destination event. So we have people come with their families, and they happen to come on their wedding anniversary as a present to him. And she ended up winning the prize. And she's not even the writer.
Yeah, that's a cool gift too. I know we went to we do paranormal ghost hunts, and we went to one and for the Hounds of the Baskervilles. And
I think I have a ghost hunt there.
I think one of them's going to be a ghost if he keeps barking. But yeah, we had a married couple that for their anniversary they went ghost hunting. They'd never been, and they had some really weird stuff happen to them. She said she wasn't getting out of the car again. But
oh my gosh,
you know what? That is
we have one of those here in Franklin too. People have taken the ghost tour here, so we have one of those as well.
Mm-hmm.
And being named, it was our little town. It looks like a Hollywood film set from the back in the early 1800s. It's the Downtown Association has done a great job with it. As a matter of fact, sometimes they come in and put dirt on the road. And so you used to have pavement. Now you go down there, you got dirt, and you've got wagons and horses, and they're actually filming a scene from some sort of movie or something. So it looks really like a Hollywood backdrop for an old small town, southern town from centuries ago. But anyway, the town was built in 1799, of course, named after Benjamin Franklin, Tennessee. And a lot of history here, a lot of Civil War history here. And so you've got a lot of great stories about these ghosts that live in the houses and things. And so it's those paranormal things are fun things to do.
Oh, definitely. And if anything, and you have to take it, I believe you have to take it seriously when you do that, because like we went to Waverly Hills in Kentucky, and we had equipment and cameras and everything, but this idiot kept walking up behind and going, woo. So, but that, you find a lot of true crime people interested in that sort of thing too.
Yeah, I went whale watching with my family, and there was some crazy lady. The whales were coming up out of the water, and she was trying to get their attention, going like whistling for dogs. And I'm like, I don't think that works for orcas. I'm sorry, but anyway, yeah, you take the tours, and occasionally you get the people who think that they're going to whistle the ghosts in.
And then we had this one girl walking around taking selfies, like there would be a little altar to someone lost, and she'd stand behind and go and take a selfie, and I'm like, okay, see, this is where
you're praying. Will the ground open up and please take her?
That would have been hysterical. And I actually thought about that. I said, what if she takes that selfie looking all, baby gangsta, and she gets it home or she's ready to post it, and there's this like demon face behind her. That would be perfect. Don't come back. So Killer, I always digress. I'm so bad about that. But Killer Nashville, I know they have some awards, but first of all, let's tell when and where and what does all this happen?
It's August, and I'm the worst with numbers. It's August 19th through the 22nd of
Okay.
this year, 2021. And it starts in the afternoon with a special master class, and then we go into the full sessions on Friday morning. We have a couple of mixers, the Shine and Wine, Tennessee, of course, and my family in specific being great moonshine peddlers. We have a chance for you to sample Tennessee moonshine as well as some locally grown Tennessee wines. And so it's a wonderful mixer there. We got band, live music, good mixer on Thursday night, and then we start in Friday with the multi-track, and it goes all the way through Sunday. We have breakfast that complimentary breakfast there with everybody being able to gather together. We have lunches together. The only time we're not together is Friday evening. A lot of people want to go do their Nashville trip or their downtown Franklin trip on that time. So it starts on the 19th of August.
Awesome. Well, we'll put that information up here too. Now, awards. I know that you guys also have a series of awards for new and upcoming authors also. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, we've got the Claymore Awards, which is not named after me. It is named after a Scottish dagger. And so we got the Claymore Awards, and that is for the best first 50 pages. And it's probably one of my favorite of the awards that we offer because we discover manuscripts. And we've got good relationships with numerous agents, and and you don't necessarily have to. The deadline is over, so you can't enter for this year, but you could enter for next year. But throwing a word out to your viewers, we'd love to see more true crime manuscripts because we get a lot of fiction, but we would love to see a lot of true crime coming in as well. And we have really good relationships with editors and agents. And what we try to do is help be the part of the slush pile eliminator and pull out the best ones there. And the top 20 usually go on and get publication, most of it traditional publication. It depends on, some people don't have, are not interested in traditional publication, but most of the time, these are all published. And we've had people who've gone on and gotten agents. Most people get an agent because we pretty much have to, if you go the traditional route, you pretty much have to sell through an agent. So you usually get an agent out of the deal. Then you get a publisher. We had one or two, and one for sure. I think there's a second one that ended up getting a movie deal as well. So it's wonderful. It's called, the whole thing with Killer Nashville in my life is that I'm using relationships that I've developed over the course of decades, and I'm helping. I was pretty much an Appalachian kid, and with no, just aspirations beyond. I had a lot of aspirations, but no way to get there. And through a series of fortunate events, I got to meet people who were willing to take a chance on me and share and introduce. And that's pretty much what Killer Nashville is. It's all about giving back. And I'm not the only writer with that sort of story. So it's all about giving back. And so we try to make sure that everybody, no matter who they are. We have our scholarships. I think the scholarship deadline has closed for this year, but for future years, a lot of the times people who need to be at the conference are not necessarily the ones who can afford it. And if you go to the website and look, you'll see, I think there's about 6 or 7 generous scholarships for people who would like to. And Killer Nashville does scholarships as well. They're not listed on that page. So if money should never keep a little Appalachian kid from trying to live their dreams, right? And so we try to make sure that that's something that's viable for people. But yeah, the Claymore Award is probably my favorite, because we are discovering those new talents. And so we try to connect them in with agents and get their career kicked off to a start that they might not be able to do otherwise. And then the other award we have is the Silver Falchion Award, and that's for the best book of the previous year. We have true crime as a category in that as well. And we offer different categories, and we make no distinction on how it was published. You know, some contests have best hardcover, best paperback, best, and we're interested in story. What's the best story of, and what's interesting is that the ones that get chosen aren't necessarily the ones that win the popularity contests in terms of some of the other awards. So it gives people we have a different criteria of how we view and judge. We almost wish we could do everything anonymously, you know, in terms of who the author is and what their history is, just so that we come at it just at the story itself. But our judges have been who are librarians, people in the industry, writers. They just try to come at it from a story point of view, and we will try to award the best one for that. And of course, from that, winning awards is great in terms of sales. It's just another way to say, hey, look at me, look at me. And you have two books here, and it says winner of the Killer Nashville Silver Falchion Award, and then the book over here you're thinking about is not a winner at all, somewhere in the subconscious that way. So we do have reported back that it does help book sales. And then also we've got the Crime Scene Award, and then the John Singenthaler Legends Award, and that one is for people who are encouraging other writers. That one's the highest honor that we give. It's like a lifetime achievement award, but it's for people who champion First Amendment rights, people who are pushing for making sure that all voices are heard. And so it's an important award to me, and it's named after my friend John Singenthaler, who was a civil rights activist. And is no longer with us, but a big supporter of Killer Nashville when he was alive.
That's awesome. And what a way to remember somebody too. That's nice.
Yeah. He was a great guy, very encouraging when I was first starting out in 2006, very encouraging of having a conference that was based upon that sort of ideal of making sure that the voices were heard. And of course, you know, I'm a product of the 60s and 70s, so I used to be a bushy-maned hippie, right? So it's yeah. I was in California, and somebody had one of those a peace sign, you know, around their neck, and I said, oh, that's cool. It's a interesting peace sign. She said, oh, you know what it means? And I said, yeah. So she's like, she's probably about 18 or 19. She proceeds to tell me what it means, and I said, yeah, I know. I was around when it was the original.
The original wear, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you had to. I was wearing it when I had the bell bottoms and the big hair,
yeah,
and the polyester shirt. So I was one of the originals, and come on, baby, light my fire.
Oh yeah, I'm friends with this one author that she's actually was the youngest member of the Manson family. Diane Lane. Oh. And we were talking, and she said, you know, I was listening to these bands that were playing for free in the parks, trying to stir up interest, like, oh, The Doors, Big Brother and the Holding Company, you know, and I'm like, You
That's
think
funny.
about that now, because I remember in
Yeah.
Fort Worth back in, whenever, and this friend of mine was saying, "Oh, you ought to come hear this new band. It's just a couple of girls that got together and they call themselves Dixie Chicks." And I'm like, "Well, that sounds corny." And now, whoops. But yeah, it was such an interesting time politically and socially, and in criminal justice, it was certainly a turning point. But you look at it
Hmm.
now and you're like, oh man, what a bunch of, but that was just the times. And interesting though. But yeah, she said she was listening to, I can't remember the rest of the bands that she was naming, but they're like icons now. Just like Janis Joplin, and she's like, yeah, they were in the park playing, just trying to get people to stop and listen. So who would have known?
Well, let me tell you this funny story. Speaking of that, it has nothing to do with Killer Nashville and nothing to do with anything. We're digressing, as you said. Um, I was doing my graduate work at the University of Miami in Florida, and then later was teaching. And I don't know where it fell in, but I was working some phones, and a phone call came in, and unmistakable voice said, "Hey, I was just wondering if I could come. Maybe I'm doing some show tomorrow. I just want to try out some new material on some things." And I said, "Who is this?" He said, "Bob Dylan. My name's Bob Dylan." And so I said, "Absolutely." So there was this impromptu Bob Dylan show at the University of Miami in the student common area. He brought his band, his whole equipment and everything in, didn't charge the university a dime, and just no promo allowed. And he just showed up and tried out some new materials and then performed the next night in the at the arena
Holy
downtown.
cow.
So that was kind of like a trip back to my younger days as well. But the minute I heard his voice say, "Hey, I was just wondering if you think maybe," I was like, okay, wait a minute, this voice is ringing a bell.
That's really good though.
Yeah.
That's really
I did
good.
not get to meet him. I did it when I was there taking the call, but I did not get to meet him when he came in. It was all work and all separation, from everybody else. But I was there on the front row, and that was a great experience.
Yeah, we were listening to. I have one of his greatest hit CDs, and we were listening to it. My friend says, "This guy can't sing. What was the big deal?" And I was trying to explain, I said, you have to understand the times and what was going on then, and he doesn't have to be an opera, wasn't it Pavarotti? It's a feeling, it's a sense of things, it's an originality, where he pulled his music, and he didn't have to stand on a stage with a bunch of other hopefuls and be eliminated by, you know, Simon and all the other ones, to make it big. I mean, he worked his ass off, not like some people, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, she said, what is the big deal? And
Yeah, I even posted on it was like a 4th of July or something, and I posted Jimi Hendrix playing this, the national anthem on my YouTube page,
mhm.
because I thought, it's a good variation on a theme.
Oh,
Um,
definitely, yeah,
Great guy.
yeah. And then
Yeah,
someone
but
had posted on my
yeah, and I
Facebook.
don't know that Janis Joplin was that great of a singer either, but she certainly had power.
She was good. I think she brought blues into a different genre. I think she took the black blues sound and put it into a white blues sound and then pushed it over. That's what I think of
Hmm.
her music.
Yeah.
Because, of course, again, the times, the people were so separated and segregated. It's like Elvis Presley, he was singing black music. Hound Dog was not original, but it couldn't be released because it was a black singer. You know, it's just it's who brings it to the table and who can make something with it and who is allowed to make something with it.
Yeah. Which brings us back to Killer Nashville.
Okay.
Everybody's allowed to make it. So I know people are tuning in right now going, wait, is this the BMI conference that I was looking for, the ASCAP conference that I was trying to know? We're back to Killer Nashville right now.
This is true crime, people, true crime. Okay, is there
and it's a true crime. Those people had to get old and die.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
So that is a true crime. All right, back to Killer Nashville.
Where can we learn more?
www.killernashville.com.
Okay, you got a Facebook page.
We've started a new thing, by the way. We've expanded some. We started a publishing company that had Cold Blooded was a short story anthology that we put together and became an Amazon bestseller when it came out. Great stories from Jeffrey Deaver, Ann Perry, Donald Bain, Jefferson Bass, Robert Dugoni, Stephen James, Mary Burton, Haywood Gould. And then also we started first book we ever published with Clay Stafford Books, which is set in mysteries and also looking at true crime and how to nonfiction, was with Richard Helms, Paid in Spades. And the first one out of the gate, I don't know if you're familiar, got a Seamus Award nomination. So we've been doing some really good things as extensions of Killer Nashville. And we just now launched Killer Nashville Magazine. So if you go to www.killernashvillemagazine.com, you will see a free, once again, giving back, no subscription, giving back, articles and interviews and how-tos and essays. And we've got some big ideas for expanding that, but it's there as a resource for writers who are trying to start out. And again, doesn't cost you a dime to be a part of it because it's all a part of the Killer Nashville philosophy of giving back.
I love it because I tell you, yes, thank you, Kat. And one of the worst things is when people will you know how they always contact the writers and say, I want to write a book. What do you think of this? Will you read the manuscript? Blah, blah, blah. But the biggest thing is, how do I get published? This one publishing company is charging me $1,500. Whoa, throw on the brakes right there. You don't pay anyone to get published.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I'm seeing that a lot now, especially with print on demand. Sell your book, become a millionaire, and be a bestseller. Just plunk down $3,000, $4,000. I mean, they're charging a lot from these folks, and
they are charging a lot. And while you're visiting www.killernashville.com, also be sure and check out the sponsors because they are the ones that actually keep us in business. We are not a writers association or writers group, like a membership type thing. So we have no money that's supporting there. All we do is pretty much what people feel magnanimously that they wish to contribute to the cause and wanting to give back to other writers. So everything I've been doing this since 2006 and have never, ever taken a dime from anything that comes. We look at it every year as if we have one penny more at the end than breaking even, then we have had a good time. And so we end up taking all of our profits and everything and turning them right back into scholarships and donations and stuff like that. We've given away around $85,000 worth of books every year to needy libraries and schools and stuff. So we do a lot of charity work as well. So we orchestrate in between, publishers who have books that are available, and we find places that are really needing those books. And you'd be amazed at, maybe not amazed, I was amazed when it first started at the deficits in many libraries I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
they really need books. And being a library kid with you know, I'm a card carrying library kid. Being one of those, it's amazing at the difficulties that libraries are having right now. So Killer Nashville tries to support those libraries as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, when I was a kid, my library card was so dog-eared because my mom would take me. And, she's the one who instilled my love of reading, thus my love of writing. And we would go into the library, this little bitty, on the south side, San Antonio Public Library. And, it's funny because I went in there as a kid before I went to school. I went in there as a high schooler, and then I went in there as an adult. It stayed the exact same. Nothing fancy. Just the exact same everything. Probably the same books because,
Well,
like you said,
you
libraries.
and I probably had the similar experience, and I think that time period, a similar experience of books weren't readily available
Mhm.
like they are now. You can think a title, any title, and you can have it in, depending on where you order it, you can have it in 2 days,
Mhm.
right? So when we were growing up, you didn't have that opportunity. And as a matter of fact, bookstores, your local independent bookstore really didn't do special orders that I knew of. I was a kid, so how would I know? But
Yeah.
if you wanted something, you really had to go to the library in order to be able to get it.
Yeah, because we weren't a wealthy family, and my mom, she was a working mom, and so libraries were awesome because it was free. It was free books, which were just a treasure. And little San Antonio Public Library on the south side, Macreles Mall area, man. I mean, that was just such a huge chunk of my childhood and one of the happiest times.
Mm-hmm.
But it's sad to think that libraries are struggling because if the electronics shut down, you're going to have to still do your research. If
Well, and there's a difference between, and I've got 2 children, and so, and then I've also got a company of staff, and so they're much younger than I am as well, and you have to make the argument that a 300 to 400 page blog essay on the web does not equal a 320 to 450 page book, which is a treatise on a particular subject. And so if you really want to examine and learn, you may need to buy the book. You may not be able to
possibly,
do it
yeah.
online.
And you can't do all
Yeah.
your research on any subject sitting in front of a computer at all.
No, you can't.
I mean, it is a treasure to have. And I love like newspapers.com where you can go back and you could look at newspapers from the 1800s. And I love that.
Oh, and
However,
you can grab stuff quick because you used to have to go to the library for that and look through those microfiche.
that I
And
could never work and still can't.
well,
Still
you could
can't.
always tell the people who were finished with the microfiche, right? Because they were like this
Yeah, yeah,
when they stood up from the chair.
yeah. I just read again. It was Fahrenheit 4. What was the number? See, it's my dyslexia. Fahrenheit
5-1.
5. Yeah, and he said he literally wrote that as a dime novel because he'd run to the library, he'd rent a typewriter for a dime an hour, and he'd type as fast as he could, and that's how that book got written. And
Ray Bradbury.
yeah, Bradbury said, "Oh my gosh, I forgot how amazing he was." But it's interesting too, and I remember typing. My grandfather passed down. I still wish I had it. His old, huge typewriter that weighed like 500 pounds, and you'd have onto the desk and to open the case, and you hope you didn't open it upside down because now the typewriter is upside down. So it's just the things that have changed. But yeah, and now people are selling those old typewriters for a mint. So, but it is. So, Mr. Clay Stafford, is there anything else that you would like to add to our discussion that has gone off on different highways? But that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Not that I know of. If your readers want to and are looking for a sense of balance in their life, they can go to www.claystafford.com and sign up there, because I have a different from the Killer Nashville magazine. My perspective is more on balance of an individual and a balanced writer. And if you're interested in trying to get some more balance in your life in terms of a writer and kind of view the world, having been around for some time, having been around the issue of fame for some time, the issue of numbers and Nielsen's, and you sometimes get obsessed with many of the wrong things when the important thing is just to tell the story. And so I offer a bit of advice in that area. So if somebody wants to check that out at my website, www.claystafford.com, you can do that. And then www.killernashville.com for the conference, and www.killernashvillemagazine.com for the free info downloads. We've got tons of archives on there, so you can go there and just start searching away, and you can find all sorts of wonderful things.
Awesome. Now, I do have one more question for you. You said child actor. Where can we go back and see you on film or on video?
Where can you see me? About the biggest profile thing, I played the role of Alan Baxter on a soap opera called Days of Our Lives.
You were on Days. Oh my gosh, my grandmother watched that.
Yes, I was. So if you go back to about circa 85, 86, back with Bo and Hope, if you're familiar with that show, then you will find me. But I did a lot of touring, like Broadway touring. I was on the road for like 3 years, one time straight. And as I got older, I ended up. I remember thinking at one point, well, you know what? This is sort of a young man's game. It's about time for me to start settling down, and about the time, it's like serendipity. I'm hearing the Eagles sing Desperado on the radio, and I'm like, okay, I think maybe, it's time to hang up the saddle. So at that point, I just kind of settled down. That was like in the mid-90s.
Everything happens.
That's 1990s for people that don't know the
right.
When you get to a point, you have to start saying 19 as opposed to 2000. But the 1990s, I decided to settle down.
For all you whippersnappers out there.
For
all you whippersnappers out there. I remember when it was 1990.
Back in the other century.
Right. All right, sir. Mr. Clay Stafford with Killer Nashville. We're so looking forward to this.
We'd love to. And let me say, if for the true crime writers, I really would love to build even more the true crime aspect of Killer Nashville. So the more true crime writers we have, the more true crime writers we have to build with in terms of building that. So my plea, I guess, to your audience is, if you guys want to help, support and build the true crime side of Killer Nashville, we would really love and welcome you to be a part of that.
That is awesome. That would be great. All right, sir. Well, thank you very much for visiting us all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. And we look forward to
You're welcome.
To you. All right. Have a fantastic.
Thanks, Judith. Appreciate you having me. All right. Bye.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Best True Crime. I'm Judith A. Yates, and I hope you subscribe. Be sure to visit truecrimebook.net and be safe out there.